The Prime Minister has responded to a prickly suggestion from New Zealand that Australia should be more cautious and respectful of China. Live to our political reporter Jonathan Lee in Canberra now. Jonathan, what's Scott Morrison had to say?
Pete, good morning to you. Yeah, for the better part of the last 2 years, Australia and Beijing has been involved in a diplomatic stoush. We all know that Beijing's been accused of trying to meddle with our political system, widespread hacking, data harvesting. You would expect our allies would all be on the same page, and no ally theoretically is closer to us than New Zealand. So it raised a few hackles here in Canberra when Damien, New Zealand's Trade Minister, suggested that we needed to be far more respectful of the communist superpower on American television. Have a listen.
Look, I can't speak for Australia in the way it runs its diplomatic relationships, but clearly, if they were to, follow us and show respect, I guess a little more diplomacy from time to time and be cautious with wording, then they too hopefully could be in a similar situation.
Yeah, be cautious with wording. It's also worth remembering that China has issued us a list of 14 or 15 demands, basically demanding that Australia acquiesce and follow what they want. Otherwise, we've seen all of these trade embargoes. The Prime Minister, in his toughest words overnight in an interview here on Sky, has suggested New Zealand get on the same page. New Zealand's a country that spends very little on defence by comparison to Australia and is now largely seen to be cozying up to China. Have a listen to the Prime Minister. It's subtle, but he doesn't miss.
How important is it that New Zealand is all in on Five Eyes, not trying to keep an eye somewhere else as well?
I don't take the view that, every system's as good as the other. If that were the case, we'd flip a coin each day and decide which way we run the country on, are we going to run on an authoritarian regime or a liberal democracy? No, liberal democracy all the way forever. And we got to continue to maintain our vigilance over this. And to do that, we've got to stick together on this stuff. It's very important. So I'd encourage all of us to go down that path.
Yeah. And Jonathan, the PM has had a bit more to say about a possible early election.
We love to talk about elections in this joint, don't we, Pete? Look, it's the first sitting day here of the year. What happens on a first sitting day of the year? Everyone, those religiously minded at least go down to Monica and there is a church service, a chance to bridge the political divide, seek some divine intervention. We expect to see the leaders and a few senior hands and helpers on down there this morning. But the Prime Minister was asked about that notion of a 2021 election, bringing it forward probably around 6 months, and he was keen to distance himself from it, suggesting there's still an awful lot which needs to play out this year. Have another listen.
Down here in this place, talk people to elections, all that sort of thing. Elections due in 2022. This year, I've got to get people back into jobs, I've got to get businesses back open, I've got to roll out a vaccine. I've got to keep delivering the services in hospitals.
Of course, Pete, we're just here in the political bubble. What would we know, except, of course, when the Prime Minister probably sees his ratings going up and then thinks, not a bad time for an election.